For most people, when you hear the word artificial intelligence, you immediately think of companies like OpenAI, Google, or Microsoft. These are the names that dominate the headlines. But what if I told you that the real power behind the AI revolution is not in the hands of these companies at all? What if the true king of artificial intelligence isn't an AI company at all, but a chipmaker? Today, we're going to uncover the secret AI monopoly that no one wants to talk about. And that monopoly belongs to NVIDIA. To understand why NVIDIA holds so much power, you need to understand a simple truth. Artificial intelligence lives and dies by hardware. No matter how advanced an algorithm is, no matter how brilliant the engineers, an AI model is useless if it can't be trained. And training requires computing power. Not just any computing power, but the most advanced chips in the world. And those chips are made almost exclusively by NVIDIA. Every major AI company, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, and even Elon Musk's shies completely dependent on NVIDIA's graphics processing units, or GPUs. These chips are not the same as the ones you use to play video games. They are specialized for parallel computing, which makes them perfect for training massive AI models. And NVIDIA has mastered this market in a way no competitor has. The company's flagship chips, like the A100, the H100, and the upcoming B100, have become the gold standard for AI. Without them, you simply cannot compete in the AI arms race. This is why companies are literally fighting each other to secure NVIDIA hardware. Reports have surfaced of billion-dollar orders being placed just to get a shipment of GPUs. Microsoft and OpenAI alone are said to have spent billions to acquire these chips, while smaller startups are being left out in the cold. Think about that for a second. Imagine trying to start a revolutionary AI company, but you can't even get access to the hardware needed to train your model. Meanwhile, the tech giants can scoop up all the supply. This creates a system where innovation is not about creativity or intelligence anymore. It's about who has the deepest pockets and the best relationship with NVIDIA. But how did NVIDIA gain this level of control? To answer that, we need to go back to the company's origins. NVIDIA started in the 1990s as a graphics card manufacturer. For decades, their main market was video games. But as machine learning started to grow in the 2000s and 2010s, researchers discovered something shocking. The same GPUs used to render 3D video game graphics could also be used to perform the calculations required for neural networks. Suddenly, NVIDIA chips weren't just for gamers anymore. They were the foundation of the AI revolution. NVIDIA saw this shift early, and unlike its competitors, it leaned in hard. The company developed CUDA. It's a software platform that allowed developers to harness the full power of GPUs for non-graphics tasks. This move locked developers into NVIDIA's ecosystem. Once you built your AI tools using CUDA, switching to another platform became extremely difficult. This clever strategy gave NVIDIA a decade-long head start, and today it's nearly impossible to compete with them. Now, let's talk about money. NVIDIA has become one of the most valuable companies in the world because of its AI dominance. In just the past few years, its stock price has skyrocketed. Investors are betting that every single major breakthrough in AI will run through NVIDIA hardware. In a way, the company has become the oil supplier of the AI age. If data is the new oil, then NVIDIA is the refinery. And they're selling that refined product at sky-high prices. But here's the problem. When one company controls the entire supply chain, you don't have a free market. You have a monopoly. And monopolies are dangerous. NVIDIA is now in a position where it can decide who gets access to chips and who doesn't. It can set the prices as high as it wants, and companies will have no choice but to pay. Governments are starting to worry too. If the United States relies entirely on one company for AI hardware, What happens if NVIDIA falters? Or worse, what happens if geopolitical tensions disrupt supply chains? This isn't just speculation. China has already been cut off from NVIDIA's most advanced chips due to U.S. export restrictions. That means Chinese companies are being forced to develop their own alternatives. The AI race is quickly becoming not just a competition between companies, but between nations. And NVIDIA is right in the middle of it. The irony is that while everyone talks about OpenAI, Google, or Anthropic as the leaders of AI, they are all standing on the shoulders of NVIDIA. Without NVIDIA, their models would not exist. The ChatGPT you're familiar with, trained on NVIDIA GPUs. Google's Gemini, trained on NVIDIA GPUs. Meta's Llama, once again, NVIDIA GPUs. The entire AI industry is built on the back of a single hardware company. And most people have no idea. Now, some companies are trying to break free. Google has its own custom chip called the TPU, or Tensor Processing Unit. Amazon has built its Inferentia and Trainium chips. Microsoft is working on its own silicon as well. Even Apple, which is not a major player in AI right now, is rumored to be designing chips optimized for AI workloads. But here's the reality. None of these chips come close to NVIDIA's performance. At least, not yet. And until they do, NVIDIA remains untouchable. What makes this situation even more dangerous is that the demand for GPUs is only increasing. Training a cutting-edge model today requires tens of thousands of GPUs working together for months. And as models get larger and more complex, that demand will only grow. This means NVIDIA's stranglehold on the industry is going to tighten even further. Some experts believe this monopoly could stifle innovation. Startups with great ideas might never get the chance to compete because they can't access the hardware. Meanwhile, the same big tech companies will dominate, consolidating their power even further. Instead of AI being an open and democratic technology, it could become the most centralized and monopolized industry in history. There's also the question of national security. The U.S. government is already working closely with NVIDIA to ensure that the country maintains its lead in AI over rivals like China. But this raises uncomfortable questions. Should the future of global artificial intelligence rest on the shoulders of a single private company? Should one CEO, Jensen Huang, have this much influence over the future of technology? And speaking of Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's founder and CEO has become somewhat of a rock star in the tech world. He's often portrayed as a visionary, the man who saw the AI revolution coming before anyone else. But with that vision has come extraordinary power. Huang knows that every company in Silicon Valley needs him. He knows that governments need him. And he knows that without NVIDIA, the AI revolution could grind to a halt. If that doesn't sound like a monopoly, I don't know what does. So where does this leave us? On one hand, NVIDIA deserves credit. Without their chips, AI would not have advanced nearly as fast as it has. They have pushed technology forward in ways no one else could. But, on the other hand, their dominance poses a massive risk. If competition doesn't catch up, if alternatives don't emerge, then the entire future of artificial intelligence could be controlled by a single company. The AI industry is at a crossroads. Will we allow NVIDIA to become the oil cartel of artificial intelligence? Or will new players rise to challenge their dominance? Right now, the answer isn't clear. But one thing is certain. If NVIDIA remains unchecked, the end of competition in AI might already be here. And that is the secret monopoly shaping the future of artificial intelligence.